Good evening, and welcome again to AfroSolo TV. This is Thomas Simpson, the founder and the artistic director of AfroSolo. We have a very special guest here tonight who's in town only for a short period of time because he's in a play, a solo piece that he wrote that we will talk about a little bit more. So I'm really happy that we were able to have Colman Domingo be our guest on AfroSolo TV tonight. So my first question to you is, where are you from?
I'm from Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, born and raised Philadelphia, West
Philly.
Philly.
That's where the big bell is, right?
Yeah, big old Liberty Bell.
Do you remember the first time you saw that bell?
Yeah, it was on a class trip. It's interesting, a class trip, but being in Philadelphia, a class trip, I think it was about the third grade, they took us down there, and I remember it was just so interesting to go in there and just, look at the bell, and we could touch it, and it was really cool. I think back then you could touch it.
Okay.
I don't think you can touch it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly,
It has that little slit in
Yeah,
it.
it's a little crack,
And it's still, is that getting bigger, larger?
No,
You have any ideas? Just still there.
It's still there.
Just still there.
Just a crack.
Okay, good. So being from Philadelphia, do you remember how you got involved with the arts?
I think I know I definitely got involved in the arts when I was maybe about 10 years old. My mother put us, she was always, we were like some rowdy kids. I was like the shyest kid in the family and really quiet because I have two very loud, I can remember a very loud family. And they were wondering why I wasn't so loud. So they put us in these my mom put us in this arts camp. And I remember we went to this, it was a vacation Bible school / art camp. And I was very shy, and they had a theater section. And I remember this woman named Pat, and she spoke very, black woman, very elegant. She spoke very,
proper.
Very proper.
Yes.
And it wasn't something I was used to in West Philadelphia. She was really, and I was really just like so interested in language. I just remember that from a young age. And she, that was my first class and my first experience, and we did 1,001 Arabian Nights or something like that. And I remember just like loving the experience of performance. And I didn't know that would translate into an artistic career later on in life.
Sure.
Because I didn't grow up around actors or anyone, that were in the arts at all. So I had no idea that this was something you can actually,
make a living.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first time on stage?
My first time on stage, yes. Actually, my first time on stage, was in San Francisco. Actually, no. Okay, wait. No, I have to go back because...
That's a little kid or whenever.
Oh, as a little kid, you want to
Yeah,
know? Oh,
I want to go back. Way back.
Oh, way back.
Way
the
back.
first time I was on stage,
Yes.
it was in a play about the 50 states.
Wow.
And my only line, and I think it was because my last name's Domingo, and they gave me New Mexico. Although New Mexico is English speaking. Anyway, so they gave me New Mexico, and basically I had to wear the garb of New Mexico. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember I just go up there and said, New Mexico! Yeah, and then I went and sat down. And it was just about the 50 states, and I think it was just teaching students about, the United States or something.
And that was your debut.
That was my debut. And I think that was about third or fourth grade. Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, it's all history now. It's in the books.
That's good. Now, as you've grown up
Yes.
in the arts, you said this proper speaking black woman had some visceral or some impact on you.
Yeah.
Can you think of some people who you feel were your idols or people who influenced you as an artist?
I think the greatest influence on me as an artist was, I think, my mother.
Okay.
My mother was definitely, she was, I think in many ways my mother was such a repressed artist in a way. I think she grew up, believing, just to take care of kids and things like that. But it's interesting that she turned out, my older brother, who actually is a painter, and my sister is a poet, and myself an actor, and my younger brother is a musician.
Wow.
So it's very interesting that, she really supported and nurtured that. And she was such an inspiration. And I think that, in her later, before she passed away, she was actually writing a lot of poetry, and her writing was really incredible and beautiful. So she was like, I think, the greatest influence on me. And we always, played make-believe and imagined things together and always dreamed. And so I think she helped me develop an imagination because we always dreamed about things that we didn't have and things that we'd like to have someday, like go to Paris, which we actually did together, and things like that. You know what I mean? So I think that she was such an inspiration in helping me believe in things that I couldn't see. So I think that she definitely gave me a strong impact as an artist.
Now, was your father involved at that time?
My father, my natural father, and my mom divorced when I was about
Okay.
9 years old, and so I was raised by my stepfather, and he was around, and he was just, a big blue collar, strong man,
Okay.
and he did the, he earned the bread,
Yeah,
and came
yeah.
home and sat in his chair.
Yes, I understand. I understand.
Yeah, yeah, but he was a good, nurturing guy.
So your mother, Phil, was a major influence.
Absolutely.
In terms of artists that you saw performing
Yeah.
or practicing, who are some artists who you feel may have influenced you? Actors,
Actors, painters, artists. I think I was I think as a kid I was very visual, and I really think it's very interesting that I'm an actor, because I think I was always inspired by painters and sculptors, like like Rodin and like a Matisse, and I know that I would just I would. I was always in the library when I was a kid, and I was always looking at books like, Matisse and Dorian and Picasso. And so I think a lot of these, it's very interesting, a lot of these painters, I think influenced me to become an artist. But also then I would watch films like, I would watch old, Busby Berkeley films, and I would watch, I think artists like, like Sidney Poitier or Bill Cosby, and their brand of humor, like doing things like Uptown Saturday Night. That was very influential on me. It was, it's, I don't know, I always consider it's such a nostalgic time, like black folks doing their thing. You know what I mean? Like, being smart and savvy and street smart, but being, all these things, and being sexy and having fun and being playful, but also being very intelligent. So I think they were people like that, like Bill Cosby, Sidney Poitier. I would even say, like, Diane Carroll, James Earl Jones. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Now, you talked a little bit about getting your start sort of in church.
Yeah.
With this sister.
Yeah.
And at some point you grew up, and those influences were carried forth for you to think about being an actor.
Yeah.
So how did that transition take place from that little fourth grader, you said, to someone who's a little bit more serious, thinking, I can do this, or I want to try this? How did that happen?
You know what? And I told someone this before, and it sounds so funny. I remember watching Eight Is Enough. Remember that show?
Yes.
And I remember thinking that kid Nicholas. I don't know why. I remember I had the thought thinking, I can do that. Whatever he's doing, I can do that. So there was something inside me that wanted to do that. I didn't know what that was really, but I knew that I wanted to do that. I knew it was yeah, that was the first time I really thought seriously. I'm like, that's something I'd like to do. And then when I got to college and I studied journalism in school, I went to Temple University, and I was a journalism major. And as an elective, I took an acting class, because I remember it was something that I found joy in when I was a kid. And once again, even in college, in my freshman year in college, I was extremely shy, and I didn't know what, and I know I wanted to, like, meet new friends, meet new people, but I knew I needed to get outside of myself. So I took this acting class, and me and this one girl named Lisa, we became sort of the stars of the class. And I was like, wow. And they were like, oh, this is something great for you. And I had no, because actually until I was in college, I'd never been to the theater really. And so I had no idea about having a stage career or anything like that. I just knew that acting had to do with television and film and commercials. So so I just then I really started to take it seriously when I was in college. But it was very private for me.
Sure.
And so basically I would while I was taking, matriculating classes, 18 units a semester,
Sure.
I would actually go to the Walnut Street Theater School in downtown Philadelphia quietly, one day a week, and take acting classes and learn how to breathe and fill your body up and your lungs with orange juice and use this wild creative imagination that, because I didn't want to tell anyone about it. It was so private, and so I had to protect it.
In some ways, I can relate to that, in that you didn't want to tell anyone, because who can make a living doing this?
Yeah, exactly.
Get a job. Get a job. What do you mean that's foolishness?
Exactly.
Foolishness.
Exactly. And for me, I was, the youngest. Well, like next to the youngest in my family, and my older brother and sister didn't go to college, and so it was really, the stakes were on for me. I was
You're the one.
That was the one, and so
you had to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought, I'd go and get a good job.
I understand.
I thought I'd get a journalism degree, then I go to get my master's, and write for a great paper and be a journalist.
And that's it.
That's
the rest of your life.
Yeah.